Well, last time we spoke, I was over at Northey Park in Peterborough, finishing up and then heading off to Germany for the next round of Masterclass 4. Some of you may have seen it, some of you may have not, but I'll give you a brief rundown on what sort of happened. It was a big 50-60 acre lake. They said the stock was roughly 70 to 100 carp. In hindsight, maybe there was a few more, but it's really shallow. We're talking sort of 3, 4, 5 feet all over, and no weed at all. We went out in the boat, had a look, and it was just really soft silt, you know, nothing on the bottom at all. And we had a walk round on the first day. It was 3-4 degrees, freezing, absolutely Baltic easterly blowing across the lake. And we saw one jumped out in amongst the wind, and in amongst the waves, should I say, and then there was a few of those sort of house martins and swifts taking a few things on the end of the breeze. So obviously the carp were there as well. Whatever they were feeding on, it was some sort of hatch of some description, and the carp were there. We decided after a 9 hours driving from Calais, and obviously we had the driving to the tunnel from the UK side as well. So it's been a long day's travel, and decided not to fish the first night. Decided to get our heads down, get a good night's sleep. And when we woke up the following morning, it had snowed. It was horrible white, well, 3 or 4 inches on the ground, you know, a good dusting of snow. And I could see Danny was really worried, you know, a lot of money going into filming. And yeah, there was a bit of panic in him, a little bit of, uh-oh, this isn't going to happen. But fortunately, got off to an absolute flyer. The real tactics for the session that we used were single hook baits, bright fruity ones, incorporating the goo, and basically casting at anything that topped. We just didn't feed hardly any bait at all, just watched where they jumped, positioned the rods accordingly. And like I say, I'm not sure if there was 70 or 100 or a few more fish. We had a few repeat captures between us, but even still, we absolutely battered them. I think Danny had 4 or 5 40s. I had 3 or 4, including a 50 pounder that the owner of the lake had never seen before. They were incredibly dark fish, lovely old, tiny little fins, heart tails. It was just, yeah, beautiful carp on a beautiful lake, and something that I really enjoyed. You know, it was a filming project that we're showing loads of tactics to yourselves, but the actual experience itself was great. You know, it was great fishing, a great lake and great carp. After Germany, I spent a lot of time sort of prepping my kit for another autumn assault at the Orient. I did have one trip to Holland and to Belgium. Basically, I had 2 weeks in I think it was July time. I drove over to Holland and spent a week on an island out in the centre of a massive nature reserve with loads of connecting canals, like thousands and thousands and thousands of acres, all connected. Not monster carp, you know, not really big ones. Lots of 20s and a few 30s. But it was really cool, you know, to be out marooned, totally at one with nature, no one else around, you know, just me and I and the guy from Vortex fishing away. We had a really nice session. On the way home from there, I stopped in at the Belgian lake that we filmed at for Masterclass 2. I've kept my ticket on there ever since those sessions there, because there's so many big fish in there, and because they are absolute lookers. And you dropped in there. Somehow, I don't know how, just dropped into an absolute flying peg where the fish had been held up. You've got a ditch behind the lake, and the water is being filled up into this ditch and then coming through these pipes into the lake, and the fish were just there. They were topping throughout the 3 or 4 nights I was in that swim, and I managed to catch myself, I think, a couple of 40-pound mirrors, and they were taking on zigs, but I actually caught a 50-pound common from right in the edge. I went and put some bait down by this pipe. The water was flowing in. I went and sat down, had some lunch, came back, and there was fish just absolutely destroying the bait. Went back, got a rod, waded in. I literally waited for the coast to be clear, lowered in a banoffee wafter in, no more than 2 feet of water. And just as it touched the bottom, a fish appeared from under the flow. I couldn't move. I was sort of like a statue with a rod in my hand, thinking, oh no, I'm going to get seen here. And it upended on the rig, hooked itself immediately, and it was a 51-pound common, an absolute belter, white tips on its fins, and yeah, lovely fish. Since then, obviously, I went to the Orient. I had 3 trips there. Originally, I went with Paul and my mate Dave, and I'd done 3 weeks. We got a campsite, and we sort of poodling between the campsite and the lake, back and forth, trying different areas. And it was real tough going for the first 2 weeks. Really struggled to see any carp. And such is the way on such a big lake. The water was going down, the weather was against us. It was sort of 30 degrees for the first week or so, and when it's red hot like that, the fishing on those big reservoirs is pretty much nondescript. Nothing was happening. But on the back end of that first 3-week session, me and Dave got on some fish, and we give them a proper slapping really. We found them in relatively shallow water initially, and had a few like that, and then we were baited a huge area out in front of Bivvy City, like I don't know how much bait, maybe 40-50 kilos of mixed tiger nuts, peanuts, boilies. We filled in a huge area the size of probably a couple of football pitches, and then we were day fishing in shallow water, and on the way back from the day fishing zones we were placing our rigs over this mass baited area, bringing the lines back to Bivvy City and doing the night there and catching a few. We didn't catch any monsters like the first year when I went to Orient. I think Dave had a 48 and a 47, you know, really big fish, don't get me wrong, but not the 50 pounders that we had the year before. And I think my biggest on that session was a 46. Yeah, the biggest I caught on that 3-week session was a 46 pounder. But afterwards, all that sort of preparation, getting the kit ready, I wasn't satisfied, you know. Obviously I like to think that you're progressing with your fishing. I'd bought the bivvy boat, I'd spent loads of time thinking about it, and to come away with a 46 pounder after 3 weeks, I wasn't satisfied. So I went back again, I'd done another week, and I had a 48, a 45 and a 39 linear, like an absolute, the 39 linear and the 48 common were incredibly special fish, you know, really nice. And I managed to go back for one more final session. So I've done 3 weeks, gone on for a week, gone back for a week, gone home for a week, and then gone again, you know, one final week just before the lake closed for the winter, and I managed to get the 50 pounder. I had a 56 common and a 54 mirror. So yeah, it all came good in the end, you know, a real experience spending that much time sort of out on a boat in the day, coming back to the night zones at night. It was, yeah, it was really hard work. I lost a load of weight again, and was sick during some of it, but it was worth it. And yeah, it's a really cool bit of fishing. But today, what have I been doing today? I'm down here at Baywater Day Ticket Lake with Gaz from Trakker. He's decided to bring me down the new product catalogue for 2017. It's available in all the Trakker shops. March the 6th it's going to be out, and it's got all of the new items in there. There's quite a lot to look forward to. You know, I've been looking through, circling a few things that I want, you know, to add to my armoury, and yeah, I'm sure you guys too will be really excited by some of the latest releases. So, what's the chances of a fish this session? Well, I fished here twice recently, and just after dark they've been showing, and it froze up on me the first time I came down here. I put a couple of zigs out onto showing fish, and then the lake froze and nothing happened. 2 weeks later it defrosted, came back, got in the same sort of area. I thought the fish would still be present, and put my maggot bags out. They were topping and whatnot, but nothing happened. And a guy set up next to me the following morning in the swim that I'm in now, and he cast out some boilies and caught one absolutely instantly. So I'm in this swim myself this time. The wind's pushing in. Most of the lake's busy, but Gaz is in the swim that I fished last week, which is a good swim, Peck 10. I'm in 11. So yeah, fingers crossed. I've got a couple of zigs out in the middle, sort of. I'm fishing 4 foot off the bottom with maggot zig rigs. I've got one with brown foam with 4 red maggots on the top, and I've got one with yellow foam with 4 bronze maggots on the top. And yeah, they're sort of set mid-water in roughly 8-9 foot of water, and I've been led to believe they've been coming out on 4 or 5 foot zigs, so I'm quite confident of them. And on the other 2 rods I've got them positioned on the reeds, and my thinking is if they're getting caught off the bottom, then there's a chance on the bottom in the shallower water in the margins. So I've got 2 Scopex goo pop-ups, and when it gets a bit darker I'm going to get a few 10 millers over the top, and yeah, fingers crossed, you never know, we might get some. Well, I said it was looking good for the zigs and the wind blowing out, and literally a couple of seconds after I finished, had a single bleep, noticed the line had gone really slack, and saw it twitch a couple of times, wound up the slack, and there's one on. Feels like a pretty decent fish as well, so I'm going to concentrate. I've got a really small size 10 hook on, and a really light hook link as well, so we'll play it carefully. Just got sight of it down there, actually, it's a big fish. Oh no, 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 horrendous.